Hey, Bryce here. So I wanted to introduce you to this new perspective weekly podcast that I'm going to be doing. I know I've done podcasts in the past, but this is with my controller slash business partner named Sharon. And one thing she's been doing for the last about year and a half is helping some of the newer students that maybe are newer to the accounting or bookkeeping space understand accounting, understand bookkeeping, understand CFO services. And that's one thing we strive to get really, really great at is what is the most efficient way to help students get that. So once a week, we review all the different coaching calls we've either done this week and see what was good, what was bad, what are some new things that we should be adding to the program in order to improve it. Like if maybe there's a template that's been asked about a bunch of times, or maybe there's like a new way to get clients or a new way to increase services that we just haven't spoke about before. And we're like, okay, should we add this to the program, or what should we do consistently to make it better and better and better for the people that invest in our mentorship program? Okay, so if you want to be a fly on the wall and see like what is the most current things that are going on inside the business and inside the accounting and bookkeeping space, I'll see you inside this video. Also, if you ever want some help growing your business, like maybe been trying to grow your accounting or bookkeeping business, but it's just not quite going the way that you hoped, or you just feel that if you had some help, you'd be a lot further along than where you are right now. Either way, go ahead and click the link inside the description below the video to book a call myself. Let's see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program. See you inside the video. Okay, I think, yeah, maybe we should do like one of these a week, like client rant or updates.
Right. Who you talk to and what you thought about.
Well, yeah, I think it's more helpful.
I guess Little Boss has spoken to one of your students.
Well, the rants I was talking about before is like people do like a weird thing like on a enrollment call, like the person who, and that's not very helpful, I think, for anyone. Versus if we do, what different students are learning or have learned, like the lessons recap for the week. I think that's more helpful to people watching. So that's what I think we should do with these. All right, cool. Okay, we'll see you. Bye.
Right.
Yeah, so the person was like, I want to increase the client price, but what if they say no? I'm like, okay, well, if they say no, well, you have two options. You just either keep working with them at the same price, you counter offer, you could negotiate and say, well, what criteria would you need in order to agree a rate increase is warranted, and then you just keep counter offer until you find a spot, or you just drop them as a client, right? It's like, well, if I keep working with the same price, but like the price was due to increase, it's like, what do you mean it was due to increase? Once a year, you're supposed to increase your price. Okay. Well, number one, you've been working for 2 years, you haven't increased the price. Number two, it's not in your contract that you're going to increase price. Number three, you never brought it up. So I'm like, and even then, like that's an arbitrary thing. Like that's accountants and bookkeepers, it's a common practice, but I mean, it's not necessarily like every client knows that exists.
Mhm.
So like more than likely she's gonna say no, but it's about what do you do after the person says no
Mhm.
that will really make or break this deal. I'm like, it was just weird. Yeah, I think people have like a bunch of like these misconceptions, and it was very, I wouldn't say it was self-centered in the way she was thinking, but it just wasn't like none of her thought process reflected how the client would be thinking. It
Mhm.
was, I want this is how it should be. It's like, okay, cool, but you're dealing with multiple clients, and it's just like I don't exactly, I can't put it into words. It wasn't even self-centered. It was just like it just
A
was,
very myopic view.
yeah, very myopic. Okay, that's how you price it.
Mhm.
It was more like out of touch.
Yeah, it's focused only on one, excuse me, it's focused only on one area.
Yeah, it was sour. Ah, no, it wasn't just focused on one area, but it was it. She almost couldn't put herself in the client's point of view because she was like, well, I want to be able to communicate my value and I want to be able to do this. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, um, oh, here's the thing for the check. I was like, when it comes to communicating your value, it's like, well, if you just say like you're just going to do a price increase and it's not really based on anything, that's retroactively, thinking about your value. But if they have been getting the value point without doing any extra form of payment, then they're not really going to see it as extra value. They're probably in their mind thinking this is just a part of your service. Because for example, she's contract to do bookkeeping, but then at the same time, she was like giving, I guess, like advisory services, what we'll probably say. So she's helping them like figure out like how to become more profitable. She's figuring out like, what should their payment or how should they pay back this loan? I'm like, wait, that's a little more than bookkeeping. How much you charge for that? Well, I want to increase your $1,200 a month. Well, how much you charging now? 997. Okay. And how long have you been like doing these like random ad hoc advisory services? Oh, for the last 2 years. I'm like,
Well, from the beginning,
yeah, so so why would
why would I pay more for what you've been giving me for the last couple of years? I do value it, that's why I'm gonna keep you on
but
as my accountant.
but I think it would be like, isn't that included in my current contract?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So it's not even about value at that point. It's just like you've you've reduced
you've established your services to include that.
yeah, exactly, without having a delineation, right? So it's like, okay, if you're going to add more value, even if you don't raise your price on it, you gotta let people know that you're adding more value that's outside of the scope of work.
Mhm.
All right. So that's rant number one. I think we should do these like once a week, like
Vaccine to send me the report before she said.
that's what yeah, I told her different client or student, I told her like, hey, before you send this report, you gotta send it to me. Do not send it to your client because she's like, what, send it to you first? I was like, yeah, you have like bro. Because I know the quality
Yeah,
of output you're gonna give to them, and it's not it.
yeah,
How to lose a $23,000
yeah.
your client in 2 weeks. Thanks. That's a scary title for a video. Could you imagine that? You get a $23,000 client and then like they cancel like 2 weeks later.
How do I put it gently so I could,
No, just let me just tell her
I just said, please send me a report before it's submitted to the client.
yeah,
Do I need to put so that I can just leave it?
before submitting to client, want to make sure, just be like, yeah, want to make sure it's to the highest standard. Want to make sure it matches your oh yeah. Just send it to me before you send it to the client.
Yeah.
Not leaving that up to chance.
Yeah. I don't trust what you sent them previously. Now that they're talking to you a second time, I don't trust what you sent them previously.
Yeah, so part of working with students, the mentorship program is making sure that they have a certain amount of precision and professionalism when they're communicating with
Yeah,
clients
yeah.
and showing them how to give reports to clients is a really big deal as well.
Yeah,
You
they keep asking about templates, but
know.
templates is not the right way to communicate with a client. Templates are fine for producing financial statements, which is what QuickBooks has already.
Mhm.
Templates is not the way you send stuff to client.
That's from my that's microphone. Oops. Yeah, I think trying to get this we'll do like back and forth. This would be a cool like podcast view where it's like back and forth.
Mhm.
So whenever you say something, then we'll film it on you when I say something. But yeah, but it's like yeah, everyone wants a template. It's like so I would say a template's good for like, well, we could make a template, but we have to make a template for like every single scenario.
Yeah,
And
that would
that's
be
like
really hard.
because especially if she's kind of offering like a CFO package to this guy as
Yeah,
well. So it's like we have to make a CFO.
because I saw a template that a student got from one of their other programs, and it was so high level that it was useless.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I'm sure it served a purpose at one point in time, but for the purpose that this person needed, it was absolutely useless. So that's why I'm not a great proponent of using templates. Templates are fine for financial statements or for numbers, presenting charts. But as far as a template for a report, for reporting CFO or advisory services, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Unless, well, we would have to make a separate container for CFO services. I
Well,
think like because I think moving forward, I think we want to make a separate container for bookkeeping student, for tax advisor, planning people, and then for like CFO. Because it's too many, it's too much in one course. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like
yeah, it's just, it's a lot. When you do CFO services, I mean, the kind of advice that you give is all over the place.
mm,
It's so encompassing that it's very difficult to just say, use this block of words.
yeah. Or yeah, especially because like there's different types of reports, right?
Mhm.
Like now she's trying to make a report that tells
You're auditing. This is an audit
yeah,
report.
that's what I was trying to say. That's why when she said she was a CPA, like, so the student's a CPA, I was like, okay, don't you have auditing background?
Right,
That's what I just say, like, this should be like in your wheelhouse. But when she
right.
didn't know it, I was like, oh, yeah, teach a person how to audit too. It's just like,
Well, not only do you have to teach them how to audit, you have to teach how to write an audit report, right?
mm,
Because that's not done exactly the same as just a regular report of financial statement.
hmm.
So there's certain things that need to be put. And the other thing too is the client looking for your opinion or is the client looking for facts only? That makes a difference with what type of report you're
Oh,
producing, right? If the client is saying, we're thinking of getting rid of our previous accountant, we're trying to gather some information together to determine whether they really were worth it
mhm.
versus, can you review what the previous accountant did and tell me if you think that it did a good job? Two totally different questions. Both of them are auditing, but you're going to get different reports.
Hmm.
So that's another reason why it's a little bit difficult to do a template.
I think instead of templates, we should make like decision trees. Like I was trying to think about that with like Messenger and with like the sales script.
Mhm.
So like we'll have like decision trees. Okay, so if you start here, this happens, this happens, this happens. If this happens, use this template. If this happens, use this template. If this happens, skip these templates and use like something like that, but put the templates within the
Decision
flow
tree.
chart itself. Maybe not a decision tree, maybe it's a flow chart or something.
Mhm.
Um, it could either be horizontal or it could be like vertical. There's a course, I think it's like BBL, it's called, and like they do theirs vertical, but it's not a decision tree. It's more like stage one, stage two, stage three, stage four.
Mhm.
So stage one, you should be learning bookkeeping, you should be this. But I'm sorry, our student journey is so sporadic, where it's like one student get like a very simple bookkeeping client versus another one can get like a 5K a month bookkeeping client.
And their backgrounds are so different that a word given in this context means something totally different to a word given in a different context because of their backgrounds.
Mhm. Hmm.
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, we're talking, but we'd have to do multiple reports. I don't know.
So maybe we won't do the reporting thing as of yet. Maybe so maybe just track what reports you're helping her create now. I don't know where you can put this in some kind of list. Like put down a list. So we'll almost like make a new course for CFO stuff, I think.
Hmm.
And like we might include it into the current one as of now, and then like eventually we'll separate the things out.
Hmm.
Maybe what we can do is we can do it like as an upsell or something. So if like someone does a bookkeeping thing for like an extra $1,000, $2,000, then they can also learn CFO service or something like that.
Well, that's kind of that one PDF that I made. Now that you've landed a client, what questions do you ask?
Uh-huh.
That's kind of along the lines of CFO services. Also, when they ask us about, what should my report look like when to give to the client, that's part of CFO services, right? An accountant will just give you the report. A CFO will give you a little bit of analysis of the report.
Uh,
And that PDF tells you some of the things to look at and discuss with the client. So that could be part of the template,
mm,
how to present financial statements to the client, accountant versus a CFO.
mm,
An accountant says, here's your monthly reports.
mm.
A CFO says, here's the monthly reports, this is what it means. Okay?
It's virtual.
That's almost why I kind of like the mix of bookkeeping and then tax planning more. I like that having that client service mix more than I like bookkeeping to CFO. Because a lot of cases, CFO is going to be bookkeeping plus the next step of the bookkeeping slash accounting. Or rather than say bookkeeping, we could say like accounting services plus CFO. I don't like that mix because it's harder, I think, for a lot of people to differentiate between the two because they might just give advice off the cuff. And now you're inside of a CFO role, but you're not getting paid for it, and the value might not be recognized. 'Cause that's another thing too, because sometimes these guys like they'll make recommendations, but the business owner does not respect what they just said because it's like, oh,
Mm,
you're just bookkeeping. Thanks for the piece of advice. Versus some students, like the clients are actually asking them for their advice. So it's like, oh, that's a totally different response too. Like Maxine or whoever this person is, they probably at their current skill level, like we could skill them up to give advice, but this person's asking her for way too much advice and way too much. Actually, no. I
they
think
already
I
have
think
a
I think
CPA, another CPA to
Well, they're
replace
trying
them.
to, but so that's the thing. I think she's misinterpreting what they want from her. She thinks that they want the report plus advice. They're just having her make like these different reports, which is
Yeah,
really what they hired for is reporting.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's a
so
good
we,
point.
we might be or overthinking what's actually needed because they just need the report.
That is true because they already have a CPA that they're gonna replace the other CPA with. So they're
Hmm.
not looking to replace the CPA with her.
Yeah.
They're looking for her to come in, do some cleanup, and then tell me what it is that you're seeing that this accountant has done.
I think we're having two. I'm like mixing two students together, right? Because like
Yeah,
the one is offering bookkeeping plus real CFO, but not charging for it, versus this one is doing bookkeeping versus and has to make a report from the bookkeeping. It's just different types of report that the CPA who they're hiring should be doing themselves. So yeah, okay, so maybe just keep track of all the different reports that they're having her give. And then if it shifts into CFO, then we'll just have like that list of things. But I'd much rather have like a course where it's like, okay, so first you do bookkeeping, then you learn how to do like the tax planning rather than that bookkeeping and CFO. I think
mm,
CFO is kind of a weird kind of zone. Because like I think because even with CFO, it's hard to just walk up to someone and sell them CFO services in a lot of cases. You know what I mean? So I don't even know if that makes sense for us to have a how to be a CFO course.
if maybe what we're doing wrong is putting that title of CFO services.
Mhm.
Maybe it should really change to advisory services.
That's what they're saying, but yeah, that's what
Because
people are
at that
calling
point,
it.
you can give advice on a lot of different things. You can give advice, you can give tax advice, you can give advice on, um, the financial statement, you can give advice on how to pay off financial services, how to pay off debt and stuff like that. So maybe that should be an
So you like
all-encompassing.
advisory services? I was that's what people were calling it. They were calling it advisory
Mm,
services, but I didn't like that because like no one knows what that actually means. So it wasn't very clear. So I think if you walk up to a business owner, you're trying to sell it for the first time, I think CFO is something that almost everyone knows what a CFO is,
mm,
versus if it's like someone you're already working with, then maybe saying advisory could work.
mhm,
I think it depends how close you are to be able to actually define what that service name means.
mhm,
So yeah, I think if you're working with an existing client, then just saying advisory services, okay, that if you think that word's a good word, okay, cool. I never heard you say that word before, but
mhm,
that's what they're in the industry are now saying. We teach you
mhm.
how to do advisory
Yeah,
services.
it's all encompassing because they are the clients, because they're the different size and the different industries are asking you questions that is pretty all encompassing.
Hmm.
It's not just about, the financial statements.
Hmm. Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to sell. But because then the next question is, what does advisory services mean? And then at
You
that point, you have to be able to delineate what it is.
see what I'm saying? That's why I didn't like the advisory titles. I'm like, well, when you say advisory, like no one knows what that actually means.
Does anybody know exactly what CFO services means?
Mm,
Because I don't know what that meant, and I've been a CFO.
yeah, but You should have didn't die. Crashed. That's funny. I'm gonna plug it in though.
Can you just check?
No.
I think that's all what we do in here. Those chairs are falling apart. They're hideous.
Yeah. Okay. So hopefully everything. Okay. You're saying? You were saying what is that? Well, what does CFO mean? Well, it was more of the fact that people knew that a CFO was a position, right?
Mm-hmm.
They might not know exactly what they do, but they know what a CFO is. So you don't have to like explain it as deeply. You can just like basically, okay, I'm a CFO, then create your listing of services around that. Versus advisors, like, what do you mean advisor? Advisor? Are you a financial advisor? Like, what does that
Mm.
mean? You know what I mean? So it's like they don't even know what that is conceptually. Who knows?
Yeah, they don't know exactly what it is conceptually because when you're an accountant, they put you in a vague kind of a position to advise them on a number of different things. So when you say advisory services, it's basically, it's all of the above, right? I can advise on accounting, finance, and taxes.
Hmm.
Or you could say I can advise on your financial statements, or you could say I can advise on something specific. Actually, that to me sounds like that makes a little bit more sense than saying CFO services because CFO services is pretty all encompassing.
Hmm.
And maybe not everybody is qualified to do all of that because CFO services should include then giving you loan information. How do you go get a loan? How do you go get grants? How do you go get um, financing? How do you go if I want to sell my business? How do I go about doing that? All of that's part of being a CFO.
Mm. You know, interesting because at least in the small business world, right, they have M&A advisors as well. So that's so it's like so we in our course, for example, we have a guy that basically he's an M&A advisor
Hmm.
in addition to tax and bookkeeping and CFO services. So he actually has that as a separate umbrella. So
Mm.
you see what it's like,
Yeah, now you're just getting really broad.
yeah, so that's why I'm like
Too encompassing.
then that's why I don't like CFO services as a container
Hmm.
for a regular person who has no skill set there,
With
right?
no skill set.
Because at least if you go CFO, okay, well, I'm a CFO. This is what I do. You basically can narrow down the scope of services that a CFO can offer and like make it more narrow instead of like super broad.
And I guess that's kind of why I think that advisory is better than UFO.
Interesting. Okay. Well, interesting.
I mean, it so depends on who you're talking to.
And that's another thing too. I think advisor to me sounds like a small business is like looking for an advisory kind of person versus an established business, 5 million, 10, 100 million.
Know what a CFO does. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's really what the difference is, right? Small businesses don't know exactly what a CFO does. They
Yeah.
just tell me what do I need to do X, Y, and Z.
But unfortunately, I think that's a differentiation as well because unless you have altitude over the other individual, like they look up to you and they respect your current skill sets, I don't know if you can say advisory to someone. I'm doing 10, I'm worth $50 million. I mean, you're gonna be advising me on what? You know what I mean? Versus like a CFO is like a person within the company that has a certain skill set.
True.
Advisory works for like if someone's doing 100K, 200, 300, maybe a million. But it's like, bro, you have no business experience. Your largest client is here. You're making no money. What are you gonna advise me on? You know what I mean?
I got it. It even goes back to
You're my advisor.
break it down to like a pastor. If you're 20 years old, how are you gonna pastor me on stuff? I'm 40
Yeah.
years older than you. You can't teach me anything. You
Yeah.
haven't long enough to teach me anything. So yeah, It depends on what level of person you're
And that's
talking
what I'm
to.
saying. It's like if I'm walking up to someone on the street, a CFO, be like, "Hey, man, I'm an advisor." A what? What have you done?
Yeah, I'm a financial advisor, but I'm currently in bankruptcy.
Oh, yeah. But even then, a financial advisor, they have a license, but they have a license. They have certain things that they can kind of show.
Well, you know about the financial advisor we work with that was currently in bankruptcy, right?
You're talking about Robert
His associate. He wanted us to buy his house because he was in bankruptcy.
to buy his house, he could sell it back to him or something.
Once he got
Oh,
out.
so it would be like a land contract instead of having to get a loan from the bank, so he could just not pay you.
I'm good for it. Well,
I'm good for it. Obviously not. You didn't even pay the bank back. Oh, I got like 9 minutes before my next call. No, that's a different. I have three calls today. I had the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock, and after that we're done. Oh, okay. I think yeah, maybe we should do like one of these a week, like client rant or updates.
right. Who you talk to and what you
Hmm.
thought about.
Well, yeah, I think it's more helpful.
I guess little lost and spoken to one of your students.
Well, the rants I was talking about before is like people do like a weird thing like on a enrollment call, like the person who, and that's not very helpful, I think, for anyone. Versus if we do, what different students are learning or have learned, like the lessons recap for the week. I think that's more helpful to people watching. So that's what I think we should do with these. All right, cool. Okay, we'll see you. Bye.